Alright, cool. So I'm going to stream for a little bit. I'm trying to make this a regular thing, but to those people watching, especially if you're watching after the stream, because I'm going to leave this up probably, don't worry. The channel's not going to just be me streaming photo editing. There are normal videos like we always do on the way. Axel and I shot a bunch of videos about a week ago. 3 videos in 2 days. It's usually how we do it, because when we get together, that's just our window and we shoot a bunch of stuff. So I'll be editing those soon. Hopefully I'll get one out by the end of this week. Don't hold your breath, but it might be out. But it'll be out soon, for sure, for sure. And then we got 2 more videos. Hopefully we'll get back into a nice cadence. Right? I've had a lot of changes in my life that kind of made it slower to get to work on these things, but or harder to get to work on these things, but things are kind of settled. Should get back in the rhythm. So normal videos are coming, but actually, you know, in the meantime, I gotta edit photos, so I might as well share that on a stream. Hello, Andrew. Hello. And in fact, the photos we're gonna edit right now, which I'm gonna start on right now as we speak, these are from the video that we shot earlier this week. So we started in Shinjuku, and we went to this spot that I've been wanting to get a good photo of. Like, I've seen this, and here we go. I think I got a decent one. So let's edit this up. Let's make my room a little darker here. It is like 9:30 a.m. Was it 9:30, 10 a.m.? Almost 10 a.m. in Tokyo. Bright day. So I got to keep the curtains closed so I can see what I'm doing. But here we go. Let's jump into this edit. Yeah, so this is a scene. I mean, if you watch the video whenever it launches, in a week or 2, I'll mention this. But basically, this is a scene I've you know, walked by a bunch of times. I've tried a bunch of times. And I never really got like a great moment. And I still honestly don't think I got a great moment. This one's okay. I love how her shoelaces flip up as she steps along like that. It's pretty cool. But like, I've seen great moments, but I was just like always like a few seconds too late. It's really frustrating. Because every once in a while someone puts their hand up on the glass and then like you see a silhouette of their hand, which is cool. Rather than pushing the door handle like everybody else does. So yeah, we'll see. Oops, that's not what I want to do. I want to change to camera neutral. Oh yeah, that's kind of cool. A little more color there. Almost too much color. Yeah. So yeah, okay, we got 9 people watching. That's great. Yeah, Steam, pick it up. People asked me before if I can schedule these and like announce them. Yeah, that's tough because my schedule's all over the place and it's just like, oh, I have time now. Let's do a stream. So yes, they're gonna be like kind of ad hoc like this at least for a while. Yeah. Caught you live. Yeah, you caught me live. Great. I'm coming next month. I'm planning on booking one of the work tours. Please, yeah, sounds great. And if you'd like to do with me, when you book the workshop, in the like workshop note, there's a section at the checkout, on the checkout page. Please mention that you'd like to do it with me. I will do my best to be available, but sometimes I'm just not, unfortunately. But definitely the tours are available. So if it's not me, you'll probably do it with Charles or one of the other guys like Lee or something. But I'll do my best. If you'd like to do it with me, just let me know. Let's see here. Yeah, it looks great. So simple. Such a simple shot. But, yeah, it works. It works nicely. And I got a bunch of variations on it. And then we'll probably... I mean, I was going to say I'll probably straighten this, but honestly, this looks dead straight. Like, I nailed that. I'm impressed. Yeah. That I got it like perfectly level. That's crazy. Okay, but I do feel like it needs a crop. I don't know. I don't think I need that upper area so much. But then a 16:9 crop like this, I feel like is a little too tight. So let's just, or maybe, can I bring in one of the corners? Because it's not. It is centered. I think 16:10 will be the right ratio for this. Yeah, just like too much space up here. I feel like that's all. There we go. That's a little better. Cool. Okay, and then let's propagate these edits to the other shots in the collection here. This one's a little less straight, I think. Maybe it's okay. Oh no, not 9, 10. Okay. What about this one? Yeah, this one's not as good, and this one is a little bit crooked. But I'm not gonna bore you guys with straightening photos. I usually, after the stream, go back through and you know, just like put the finishing touches on these things. You know, just to like straighten things that need straightening. Yeah, I might straighten something that I think like really you could see the difference, but subtle stuff like that, it's kind of no point. Or like a quick one like this where it's just like a little rotation. Yeah, that's pretty cool. I like this too. I almost kind of like this more. It's simpler. One thing I don't like about this version is this like these signs on the window, this one, the no smoking sign. If those signs weren't there, this would be a much stronger scene, which is why I initially, this is actually the first photo I took, I initially shot it closer like this, but then I kind of don't like the, I don't know, the lack of, I kind of do like the lack of clarity actually. I mean, this is pretty good. This one is good. This one works. It's very simple. But again, you see, if somebody was putting their hand on the glass, which I saw once but didn't get, I was just too slow, I wasn't quite in position, then that would have been really cool. Right, so that's why I go for this. But then if people don't do that, it's maybe nicer to shoot them from the front like this. Yeah, well, that's pretty cool too. I actually like how she does that and like kind of lines up right in the middle. That's pretty cool. Yeah, maybe that's the best one. I don't know. It's hard to say. Oh, I keep doing the wrong crop. 16 by 10. There we go. All right, and then what's going on over here in this last one? Yeah, the edits propagated too, but the colors changed so much. And that's because, and I've said this on the last stream, and I'm sure I've said it a million times, it's because the fluorescent lights flicker. And as they flicker and change color, the camera will catch that at different moments of its flickering, you know, cycle, right? Refresh rate cycle or whatever. So the colors always look a little different. But this is pretty cool. This is alright. I kind of like these more muted colors compared to the other ones, which are a little more vivid, right? Yeah, and you can see like how that color shifts, right, from photo to photo, and that's because of the flicker. It also doesn't help that I'm shooting on a 500th of a second fast shutter speed, so that affects, you know, how I get him in the cycle there. Yeah. Okay. Cool. Let's move on. Yeah. I was supposed to do the stream actually yesterday morning, which would have been Saturday night in the U.S. and Europe and stuff, but I overslept because the night before we had a reception at an exhibition that I took part of. There was an exhibition in Tokyo at this gallery called Gallery Conceal. And that was really fun. And I met a lot of awesome people. And a bunch of people bought my book, which was really cool. And I got to sign it in person and everything. It was very exciting. Then I got home late, went to bed a little late, woke up late, so didn't do the stream yesterday. So I'm streaming on a Monday, which is a Sunday for, I think, a lot of you guys. So we'll see how that goes Sunday night. I feel like fewer people are going to watch. Most people are like, got to go to work tomorrow. And so they don't want to like waste their time on something like this. They're going to do like the most fun activity they can. Whatever that might be. I don't know. But I don't know. I could be wrong. Do you feel like anti-flicker has gotten better if you use it? So I think the anti-flicker, my understanding is for like the banding effect, which is not in these photos. So it's like when you can see like light and dark spots. But the flicker effect that I caught would have been there for in like a, what do you call it, mechanical shutter camera too, like an SLR, rather than, because I'm using a mirrorless camera with an electronic shutter, right? But I think it would have been present in any kind of shutter, and it's just because of the timing of the lights. I don't think the anti-flicker does anything for that specific situation, or like that specific aberration, I should say, the effect that was in those photos, just now or in these photos. I could be wrong. But I don't remember if I have it turned on or off. I think I have it off in my camera because if I turn it on, then it creates some limitation with something. I don't remember what. I'd have to look at the manual and stuff. But anyway, it was like frustrating to have that limitation. So I was just like, you know what, it's not worth it. I'm just going to keep it off. Who cares? It's not usually a problem. So here we go. I got a kind of a wider shot, which I think works even better. I like that I could see this whole little carpet thing in the foreground. It's kind of a weird texture. But I didn't wait around for as good of a person. This guy's just okay. One of these is probably the best. Yeah. Well, anyway, moving on. Yeah. Yeah. Older cameras don't seem to have it, but I also think they didn't really need it. So yeah, I don't know, but I could be wrong about that. Let's edit these two sets. This was a really fun moment. In the video, I'm not sure. I think Axel was quite far behind me, so maybe he didn't actually see this. But this was such a cool moment. This guy's lighting this guy's rolled up cigarette, which looks like a joint, which is a little weird because like marijuana is very illegal in Japan, so they're definitely not smoking weed on the street. But it looks like one. I think it was just like, yeah, it was like a homemade rolled cigarette, a rollie. But it was cool. Like it was just lighting for him. It was very. And you don't see this kind of thing on the street in Tokyo very often. Like this is a very kind of special scene. I don't know. I just went for it immediately. You can see from the low angle that this is a semi-hip shot. So I tend to, and you'll see this in the video. I tend to hold the camera like low, like near my chest, and I look down on the screen from above. So I kind of treat it like an old school, like a Rolleiflex or a Hasselblad or something. Oh yeah, definitely better colors on camera neutral there. And so yes, I kind of, the camera's low and I had to point it up. But in moments like this when there's very little time, this technique works really well. And I can just nail nice moments like this, like the timing. Okay, let me see here. I feel like I could do something more exciting with the colors. That's too blue. And then warm is going to be too warm, I guess. Yeah. I think we're like on the edge of warmth here, as warm as it can get, before it starts to be less interesting. I always try to edit for color contrast. Like I want the different colors to be separated and to pop from each other, while still maintaining a kind of overall mood. You know, I don't want it to get too poppy, because then it just looks very disjointed, right? So I want the warmth to be warm, and then the blues to still pop out, right? While also looking fairly natural. Very cool. This is great. Turned out awesome. Let's see the other one. There's another one here that's a moment, like a split second earlier. I caught focus on this dude. And then, but this is not as good. Yeah, this is just not the right focus. And also just not the right angle. I think I'm like, yeah, too far from the side. I can see kind of down the street. And there's this toilet sign, not interesting. So yeah, this is definitely the shot. Very cool. Now one small thing, do I want to crop it up a little bit? Right? Upwards a little bit, I think that might be good. Something like that. That way it's more focused on them a little bit. I feel like they were kind of in the wrong part of the frame, so that's good. And then let's see if we can propagate these edits. Yeah, not bad. A little cool. But we're going to warm that up, but the contrast and everything seems okay. Now let's go 2900. And then I usually just reset it real quick to see. Yeah, that's nice. Nice kind of interesting color distortion going on there, which I like. Maybe we make it more purple or more green. I think a little more green. And then do we need this? Yeah, we need that. Do we need that? Well, maybe a little more of that. Yeah. That's pretty cool. This guy was posing for a selfie for this person here. You can see is kind of holding a phone. So, but you know, I caught the moment. Sneaky, sneaky. Yeah. By the way, as it states in the thumbnail or in the title as well, as feel free to ask me questions. I want this to be more like a conversation than just me editing here. You know, although I'm happy to do that too. That's totally fine. Yeah. In this case, see, like just fixing that. Maybe that's too much. Maybe that's kind of cheating. But I feel like it works. It kind of. Yeah, a little too much there maybe, but yeah. Like, it's very distracting that those frame lines are kind of all over the place, but if you fix that up, it just looks good, you know? It just looks good, and in the moment it was, you know, difficult to get that perfectly, so I find it, you know, useful to fix those things a little bit. Let's darken the shadows a little bit. They're actually way too bright. It kind of ruins the atmosphere a little bit. And then let's copy it over to this one. Ooh, and this one, again, you see the colors change a lot because of that aforementioned different kind of lighting with the flickering. There's a lot of fluorescent lights in there. Get rid of this green cast a little bit. Whoops. Oh, exposure all over. Make it a little darker, actually, now that I think about it with the exposure. Darken curve a little bit. I think on this one as well we can darken the curve a tiny bit. Yeah, and then this one, see, I don't feel I need to, you know, I corrected myself. So like, I saw this in a split second, so it was kind of crooked. But then I brought the camera up as I shot the next photo, right? And then this one I think is fine. I don't need to, maybe a slight straighten, but I don't need to like fix the distortion. But I will crop this, so I don't like that air conditioning unit up there. And again, I feel like a cinematic crop looks good. And this is nice. Look at this nice happy moment. Yeah. Yeah, I think this one's better anyway than this one. Yeah, I like that the frame lines aren't there, like the frame of the window. And then the moment is just a little more intense, a little more happy and smiley. Yeah. Let's see here. Drink a little water. Alright. But yeah. Yeah, yesterday, so like I said, this week we shot videos, and then I also had an exhibition, and that was really fun. As I already mentioned. I had my book there. Just finished. I really wish that somehow that, honestly, looking back now, maybe we could have figured out a way to kind of stream that or something. I guess next time. I'm terrible at like all this media stuff. How to stream, how to get it out there. But a friend of mine who is a streamer, like he streams like a lot of his life, this Polish guy named Emil, dropped by, And he had his like camera, you know, on his chest, just like streaming the whole thing the whole time. That's kind of cool. He's very cyberpunk when he's dressed up in all his gear for streaming on the streets. Yeah, here I love this scene. This is kind of a recent discovery where this is a spot I've, you know, came to a million times. This is Memory Lane in Shinjuku, and you know, this is the like this famous noodle shop at like the main intersection inside this little network of alleyways. And fairly recently I realized, ooh, there's like this little gap next to like a water machine. The thing on the right is like a water dispenser, right? And between the water dispenser and the wall, you get this little view into the shop. And I love it. I love it. He's loading up the soba noodles there. Towel. Very cool scene. Alright, I think for this, we should need like more color. The colors are odd here, honestly. It's kind of weird. Everything's kind of weird. I feel like maybe we gotta pump this more. And I don't know. Yeah, odd colors. I don't love the colors. I've had other photos of this scene where the colors are better, but this one is okay. Oh, Nate, you stopped by at the exhibition. Awesome. That's cool. That's cool to see somebody on the stream who was at the exhibition. That's awesome. Very cool. And Andrew, any general tips while on white balance? Right. Do you ever set it manually when shooting or just select what looks best? Yeah, right. So I never set it in the camera. I just leave it on auto because it's just one other thing to worry about, and there's already so much like information to process when you're not doing street photography. So many things to consider, and the most important thing obviously is looking for the interesting scenes, so you want to be focused on that. The second one is, of course, once you find an interesting scene, composing it the right way, so you want to do that. And then the last thing is the timing. There's probably some other things I'm not even remembering, but those three like major things are what my brain is focused on when I'm out. So if I can remove anything from the equation, like the white balance, and do that later when I have, you know, I'm sitting in my desk like this and I can just take all the time in the world to play around with it, I will defer that decision to later. So white balance definitely happens in post. And so my tip is, when I edit these, this is not the best example because like I'm saying, I'm kind of struggling. The colors in this photo are a little messed up. But generally, like if I make it really warm, you see, now it's like all yellow, right? Obviously. And so that might look cool in some photos, but what I want to see is color contrast. I want to see colors pop. So like the photo of the two guys lighting the cigarette is a good example because there are warm tones and cool tones, and I want them all to be kind of separated, but in the same time I do want an overall sort of ambiance to the photo, right? So basically I just tweak it up and down, and I kind of have an instinct for it at this point where I just can type in a number and I kind of know, oh, it's going to be around there. But yeah, you could just like slide it up, you know, I'm going here by 500 increments, so it's a lot, right? But you can go by smaller increments, and you can just kind of see how it changes. And of course you can use the slider, which I never do. I actually use the keyboard all the time. But yeah, so you see, like that's too cool now. Everything's really blue, right? So I think for this photo around 2700 was okay. But still the colors are just kind of you know, it's okay. I'm gonna move on. I'm not gonna try to like salvage it. And see here the colors got better. And again, it's because the lights in the background flickered off. So you see the photo got darker, but the colors actually got more natural. There are these yellow Christmas lights that they hang up in the street during the winter, and that's what's creating that intense yellow cast, right? So here we're gonna actually green it up a little bit, and then maybe we don't need this, and we don't need it to be so purple. I was overcompensating for stuff. Yeah, this is okay, right? I see another comment there. I'm gonna read it in just a second. Just gonna finish this one. Oops, a little brighter, a little cooler maybe. Even a little cooler, and there's still kind of a color cast in this one from the floral lights, but I like this color cast. This is more natural to me. I think I can get rid of it around there. Yeah, but there's still a little bit. But that's nice. And then I don't think I need the saturation up anymore. Actually, let's see this on camera neutral. Is that better? I don't know. It's hard to say. I kind of like the more punchy, contrasty look of the Adobe colors versus the softer look of the camera raw, or sorry, camera neutral in this case. And you see this is back to the yellow. Those yellow lights turned on in this brief instant, and then it's really warm again. Alright. Let's see here. Well, that's nice though. Quite cooled off. Maybe 2500. Maybe a little bit more purple here. That's decent. That's decent. I'm not going to totally tweak this, but this could probably be fixed up. And yeah, in this case, I think he noticed me and looked right at the camera. He was like, what's going on? What's this guy doing? Alright, that's a cool scene. I kind of like that one. Alright, so this next question here from Corey Chrome. Where was the exposition? Oh, is it over? Yeah, it was at this gallery called Conceal, as Nate said. in Shibuya, and it just finished yesterday. Yeah, unfortunately. It was only a week. It was very short. It was very short. All right, so... Yeah, sorry, I could have answered questions sooner, but when I'm in the zone on a photo, I want to finish it. So this is very abstract. You'll see this in the video, the next video we post from Shinjuku, where we go to the scene. And I've shot this scene a million times, so in the video I will probably show other photos from this scene that I've taken over the years and over the months, recent months. This is something I've been shooting a lot. During the shoot of the video, I didn't really, like, it depends really on the subject and where they're standing inside this, like, smoking area. That's what this is. But this one's kind of okay. It's very abstract. This one definitely I'm going to crop really like this, because I was kind of holding the camera too low, and you see that improves things a lot. It's kind of cinematic, abstract, and weird. Right? And then we're going to go a little crazy here on the edit. So I'm going to just, you know, fully just lean into this abstract quality of this image, right? And not trying to salvage it, quote unquote, right? I'm just going to let it be all messed up how it is, because it's more like a texture, right? With these people just kind of superimposed into the scene. So I just want to get interesting colors and an interesting feeling, rather than like trying to make it accurate. And so photos like this are fun to edit because you can just kind of do anything. I mean, there's like no rules. It's just whatever. Right? Actually, I think it should be a little warmer, and then less purple. I want to bring out the greens in this to make it look more kind of retro a little bit. Yeah, even more. That's a little too much, but there we go. That's about there, and then maybe a little warmer still. Yeah, I think I started it with it warm, and then I made it cool, and now I'm going back to warm. But that's how it goes. Okay, cool. Yeah. So are these 28mm? Yes, they are. 28, the f-mount 28 1.4 that I've had for years now. I love this lens. And yeah, I used it in this video the whole time. And so like scenes like this actually kind of work better on a longer lens, because you can zoom, you know, not necessarily zoom because it's not a zoom lens, but you know what I mean. With a telephoto lens, or even like a 50 or something, you can get these subjects with the foreground more blurred out. But I have to get like super close. But then it gives some cool opportunities. Like I didn't nail the focus on this guy, but I like how this lady's coming in from the left like that. With a longer lens, you wouldn't get this effect because you'd be farther back, and they would actually look like they're closer together. There's a lot more depth with the wide lens. But anyway, in the video I'll show other examples of the scene that it worked out better. I think I didn't want to waste too much time on it because there wasn't the right subject, so I mentioned it briefly and we moved on for the purpose of the video. But this one turned out kind of okay. It's an interesting way to do it. It's kind of cool, very strangely cinematic, you know. Alright, then there's this cool scene. Yeah, nice. Those of you who are just joining in, welcome to the stream. Seeing the viewer count growing a little bit. Yeah, and I will just repeat what I said in the beginning. This is the second stream in a row. The last one was like 2 weeks ago. And don't worry, the regular videos are on the way. They're coming. Just, I wanted to, you know, I want to do these streams a little more often, and so in the gaps between the videos, there'll be more of these sessions. All right, but this is not the new direction of the channel. It's not the main thing. These are secondary. All right, this is cool. I just love the light in this scene. And this lady like cleaning up wasn't maybe the coolest subject for this, but there's a cooler subject coming, I think. Yeah, in the later photos. But I do love the light. Now the question is, do I want more like, right, vivid poppy colors? Like, see, this is more blue and more pink here. Or do I want that overall atmosphere? I think I'm going to go with the colors. So I could get back some of that atmosphere from the Adobe stuff with just some tweaks here. Yeah, this morning I'm kind of sleepy. Yeah, waking up early to try to do these streams, not like at a time that is convenient for as many people as possible. But yeah, I've been going to bed late these days a little bit. There we go. That's a little too much on the highlights there. Bring it down a little bit. This is like the only time I use the mouse is for the curves. Okay. Is that actually straighter? See, that feels more crooked actually. Yeah, I think it is just straight. It's just kind of slightly, oops, slightly off. Okay, let's copy those edits. Let's see here. WYK 28mm lives on my camera, and most of the time I feel it gives me everything from intimate to some landscape without looking too warped or unnatural. Yeah, and hello to you as well. And yeah, I agree. The 28 is just, I love 28. I don't know. It's not perfect for everything, but you can take even a decent portrait with a 28. You obviously have to get very close, but then you get a really cool effect. Actually, in this alley, on a different day, I did get a portrait of this gentleman, this older man, and it was pretty epic with the 28, you know, it was very, like, intense. Alright, this is cool. This is much more suitable for the scene, right? This kind of noir-y scene with this dude. I'm going to quickly just remove the chromatic aberration there, because I can. Why not? You know, they had, like, purple fuzz around his ears. Kind of weird. Yeah, this is cool. Do I want to crop it to kind of on a cinematic ratio? What's going on here? Oops. Yeah, I want 16 by 9. Ah, there we go. Okay, cool. But do I want that? I don't know if that's necessary. I like the trash in the foreground. So maybe around there? I think this doesn't need a crop. I don't know. It just needs to be straightened a little bit, but it doesn't need the crop. I think just having it full is fine. Maybe just bringing up the corner here a little bit. Yeah, that's better. Okay, cool. Let's move on. Very good. So the one in the smoking area is terrific. Thank you, thank you. It is very Tokyo. I'm glad you like it. Like I said, I don't want to dig through my archive right now to try to find the other shots, but I've had a lot of fun shooting that smoking area. It's on one of the workshops. It's like on the way, so we always, or at least I always drop by that spot. Same as this spot. Some of these, like this one, the one just before, these are on the workshop recently. The workshop's always kind of evolved, like the route that I take, but recently it's on the route. So I've been kind of, you know, utilizing these new spots, and then I figured, you know, why not throw them in a video. So this I'm going to crop first right away, just because it will help me focus on my edit. So the question is, do I want to straighten it like that? I think no. I think the angle is fine. It just needs this crop to bring more attention more to this guy here in the middle. And let's go straight to camera neutral, because I know I'm going to need it, because you see this neon is like faded out. Camera neutral immediately brings that color back. So that's like an aberration of the Adobe colors here. Let me see the next comments. Yeah, Shola Jabar. Okay, yeah. That's the kind of area for all these kind of girly bars and stuff. Totally, this is Kabukicho. So you're gonna try and make this a Sunday thing? That is correct, WYK. I am trying to make this a Sunday thing. Maybe not every Sunday, but like every 2 weeks, because you know I'm always editing photos. Like I have tons, either for videos or just on my own shooting or from workshops, and I'm trying to keep up. I hate them piling up. So I figure, like, if I'm going to edit them anyway, I'm going to spend a few hours just, you know, editing these photos. Like, might as well share that and then have a conversation. And then I also kind of want to use this space as, like, sort of like I explore updates. I know that we've been kind of, you know, on hiatus for a bit where we didn't post as many videos. As I've mentioned many times, you know, just changes in life, you know, moving and stuff. I had a lot of stuff to do. I had a kid and whatnot, you know, so big changes. And that delayed things. But you guys didn't know that, so if I do like a stream like this and we have a little chat, then at least some people can, like the most rabid of fans of our channel can get the update, right? And yeah, and I'm also gonna not be afraid of the algorithm. Screw it. Like I've heard that if you leave streams up, it's not good. But I don't know. I'm just gonna leave them up. I feel like people enjoy them. And on the other hand, I like long form content. Like I regularly, usually when I edit, if I'm not streaming. Usually what I'm doing is I'm not listening to music, I'm listening to like a podcast or something. And there's so much long-form content on YouTube these days, you know, like whether you want something just like pure funny entertainment or, you know, something intelligent or smart, you're going to learn something, there's just tons of stuff. And I'm liking the podcasts. So I kind of want to treat this sort of like that. It's kind of like a podcast where I just ramble about random stuff while I'm also editing my photos. Yeah, but that's why I want to make it a Q&A. I like the questions because it keeps me saying something that at least someone thinks is interesting. If I'm just on my own, I'm just going to ramble about who knows what, like I am right now. All right, I love this. Let's see here, and I like the way he looked at me. He's like, what's going on? I felt a little weird, but I'm shooting the whole thing, you know. He's just part of the scene. In fact, it's fun. This guy's also looking over here, fixing his hair, you know, and then these guys having a conversation. I kind of like this sort of like smattering of people in this cool environment. Yeah. Konnichiwa, Lukash. Ashid. Oh, hello, Ashid. It's good to see you. Yeah. You took 2 workshops with me. I appreciate that. We had a great time. I've been liking the posts that you've been doing recently that I recognize from the workshops. Yeah. Great. All right, I think the next one here I really like. Yeah, because this lady in the green back here, ends up in the frame. Then this guy kind of looks towards her, and then there's this green that appears in the, you know, the color shifts there for some reason. Again, probably something to do with the flickering of these lights and whatnot. Oh, I don't need to do that. So this one is probably my favorite of this set. And honestly, this is one of the best ones I've ever gotten of this scene, because I've tried this scene a million times. Actually, I think we did that together, right? Some people for sure will recognize this 100%, because I bring people here. So as I mentioned on the workshop. But this night, I got a pretty cool one. Like, I just like this lady and this dude. They're not really looking at each other, but they kind of are. And then the green. So this is probably the best one I have of this to date. And believe me, I've tried this many times. This one's okay too. This one's a little more clean. There's just like less going on. Right? Just like cropping off some of it because I want to keep the reflection, but I don't want the upper part so much. So hence the crop that I'm doing. That's pretty cool. And then what I really want, though, honestly, what I'm going for is people like this who are much closer, right? But it's much harder to get, and just like not that many people walk through here because there's, I mean, as the sign says, there's a 7-Eleven on the right, and people are just coming in and out of it. But you don't get like, I mean, if I wait long enough, there will be, but you don't get like the most interesting of characters coming in and out of 7-Eleven, you know. So this guy was just all right. I just like how the yellow light hits his face and it creates this effect. But yeah, probably the best one, as I said, is this. Oops, I don't want to save that just now. This one is also pretty cool, and this guy's taking a sip. That one's okay. And then when he's just not looking at me, probably that one is also really nice, because it's just kind of more candid. And I think I can crop this a little lower to get more of the reflection. And then this can be a little bit brighter. It's a little darker. There we go. And I will catch up on comments in just a second. We're going to close this. Okay. Cool. Yeah, exactly. You remember the location. And then, congrats on the baby. Thank you. Since this is an editing vid, how do you feel about lens profile corrections on a 28 the barrel decision is def more noticeable? Yeah, I mean, I think I've done it already. Did I do it on this set of photos? I might have skipped it. Sometimes it doesn't really... Yeah, I did do it. And I kind of did it, honestly, without a necessity. But, like, yeah. You see, it's very subtle on this lens. But I tend to just do it out of habit. This photo, honestly, doesn't really need it. I'm going to leave it in because, like, it doesn't hurt the photo. But then, yeah, the photos where, like, there's a lot more geometry going on, like straight lines and stuff. Yeah, then you want to, what do you call it? I want to fix the distortion. Actually, like, we're going to edit this. I'm definitely going to have to fix the distortion on that because it's noticeable. Okay, let's do these two, and then we'll go on to this next set, which is pretty cool. I think I got some good stuff there. Yeah. Yeah, I explore behind the scenes. That's right. Yeah, especially in this case, the last stream I did was just kind of random photos that I wanted to edit, stuff that I liked, but that I've shot. But this is, yeah, from a video, so it really, truly is behind the scenes. Yeah. Let's see here. Just got a quick shot of these two ladies and just walking down the street. Not an amazing shot by any stretch, but we'll crop it in a little bit to kind of make it a little more about them. But yeah, this is a very like, this is a photo like I take all the time, and then it's just like, I don't post this photo. It'll be in the video because the video is the kind of like, you know, it's about the process. So I try to leave as much in as possible while still keeping it interesting. But like, yeah, this is not a photo that will be at an exhibition or in a book or even on Instagram. Like, it's just like okay, it's just whatever. But it's cool. I mean, it's satisfying. It's satisfying to nail like the focus, and it feels cool to just be like, oh yeah, look how sharp that is, you know, in the moment, in the motion. It's a little motion blurred, but that's okay, you know. Alright, let's see here. This one, in the video I believe I said something like, it'd be nice, it's kind of like the other door that we did in the very beginning of the stream, but this place hasn't opened. This is some new like bar or club or something that's being built here in Kabukicho, and I'm sure eventually it'll be busy, and it would be nice to get somebody like popping out of there. That'd be really cool. The only thing is that I'm sure by the time it opens, there's going to be a crap load of signage on this thing. There's going to be like some, you know, ugly advertisement or something like that. Yeah. Let me see here. And then, yeah, do I have a favorite time of year to shoot? You know, my initial instinct was just to say no. No, of course not. It doesn't matter. But actually, I like winter. I think winter's really good. And there's two reasons, especially in the daytime. Because and yeah, just real quick, so see distortion here. It's subtle, but it makes a difference. It makes these lines straight, which look better. right? When they're straight. So anyway, winter. In the winter in Tokyo, and probably everywhere at this latitude, because it has to do with the sun never really gets that high up in the sky. Like, even at noon, it's like 40, 50 degrees on the sky, meaning like from the horizon, 50 degrees up or so. Something like, maybe a little more, maybe I'm exaggerating. But the point is, it stays low enough that even at the middle of the day, at noon, you have really long shadows, like of stuff in the city. So the light's coming from the side. And on top of that, the air is very dry. It gets very dry in Tokyo, to the point like my hands are always cracking. And I gotta like moisturize my stupid hands every day because they're constantly dry. Especially when I go out to shoot. I wear gloves and stuff, even when it's not that cold, just to keep like the moisture in. But anyway, so yeah, that very clear dry air, and then that low angle of the sun during the day is just fantastic. You get these beautiful shadows, and then it bounces off all the glass around the city, and it has, I always like to say, this little, maybe just I'm being extra poetic or something here with it, but it has this quality that it looks like it's like the color of the light is silver. It's not white. It's got this silveriness to it, and it's kind of weird. I love it. But at night, it doesn't make a difference if it's winter, and then it's freezing, so I don't like it at night in the winter. And then the fashion in the winter is cool. I mean, like in terms of like how people look, it doesn't really make a difference. I think these girls have like coats on, but probably summer's a little better. People are dressed a little more cash, you know. Yeah. So yeah, I guess in that regard, winter. And then also the rainy season, which is annoying for most people, is a great time because you have like consecutive rainy days, so you can get a lot of, you know, rainy times. That's like late June to mid-July, more or less. All right, I'm very excited to edit this one. It was a brief moment, but I love this guy way back there. I figured it's a little too dark. They're a little out of focus, but we can make this work. So let's brighten it up a little bit. Yeah, and then bring the highlights down on that machine, and then yeah, the ISO is quite high already, so I'm gonna introduce a ton of noise. You see all this little noise, but it's not too bad. It's not too bad. Okay, let's see here. Well, yeah, it is a little dim. I wish I exposed this better. It didn't need to be on a 500th of a second, but I was already set for that. That's the thing. And then the moment was so brief that I was like, I gotta take this photo right now. If I tried to change my settings, I think I would have missed it. Because then then a split second later, see, he put his hand down. Well, actually, I think I deleted the split second. Yeah, because it was not good in Tucson, where I tend to delete photos that are kind of samey because I don't want to keep like a ton of crap. That in any case, just suffice to say, I would have missed it if I didn't hurry. But yeah, this would have been better on like 100th of a second, and then the ISO would be like 1/5 what it is now, so it'd be like what, like 640 or something like that. So that would have been much better. But oh well, it is what it is. You know, in the moment, and then plus like when, again, maybe it's an excuse, but when shooting a video, my mind is like all over the place because I'm also thinking about, you know, what to say, and I mean, kind of like right now. But it's a little less stuff going on if I'm just editing rather than on the street trying to catch candid moments. All right, let's see. I'm trying to make these colors interesting here. So I want this violet to pop nicely. It's a little too warm. Yeah, it's a little tough here with the colors. I'm trying to. Oh yeah, that's better. That's better. There we go. That's the problem. It's too purple, too magenta. That's a little better. And then we don't need actually this. We can reduce the saturation. Okay, that's decent. That's not perfect, but it's decent. This will probably need some tweaks. This could maybe use. Let's try a split toning or whatever. What do they call it now? Color grading. It used to be called split toning. Let's try this. Let's see. A little bit warmer shadows. I'm gonna do it my standard way, and then we'll tweak it from there. Cool midtones. Oh yeah, there we go. And then again, warm highlights. Not that warm. But then we might do cool highlights. I tend to do that too sometimes. I think for this photo, yeah, cool highlights are better. It's very subtle. And then let's try the balance here. Yeah, let's balance it a little to the warm side, and then blend it a little more, and then that's fine. And then what it looks like with and without, you know, it's not a big difference, but I feel like it just adds some contrast, some color interest. Okay, let's propagate those over. Enhance. Yeah, sorry, just saw that comment. Yes, I tried enhancing. I think eventually I did slow the shutter down, but then I left it high here because now I switched over to a different concept. I let those people go, and now what I'm trying to get, and you'll see in the upcoming photos, I'm trying to get a shadow on this bit of wall here. Now, I've done this before, like I have similar shots from this scene, but I just thought for the purpose of the video it would be fun to try to get it. Now let's see here. Does this scene need the split toning or color grading? Yeah. It doesn't hurt. Kind of looks cool. Looks weird. Okay. Let's just kind of propagate it over. See what happens here. Move them over. Oh, that's way better. See there's like a big colorful sign in the background behind me, and it's putting this color here. And yeah, this changes better. All right, this is much nicer. So between these two, this is the one. But then people walked into frame, you know, hopefully, and so this is why I kept the shutter speed pretty fast. I eventually went to 400 or something. I think the camera just did that on its own because I wanted that shadow, right? Even though that if I had a slow shutter and the shadow was moving, it would still probably look pretty sharp because it's got a fuzzy edge anyway, but I just kind of left it on a fast shutter speed. I think eventually I slowed it down. Yeah, there we go. Now I'm at 125th. I was like, you know what? I don't need this speed, and I slowed it down. Okay, and by then, you see the people already left. This is just like moments later, a few seconds later, so, yeah. Okay, this one's a little dark now. Oh, this one has no edits, that's why. Let's copy these over. Oh, there we go. Nice. That's beautiful. And then I think the next one, is it the same person or was this a different person? Yeah, they moved over. And the trick here is, you want the shadow without the person. So I'm going to crop them out in this case. Right, but really I'm trying to just time that. And anyway, I think like the area outside of this pole is not needed, or not pole, whatever, this like beam here. So there we go. So that's pretty sick. I like that. Now the question is, do I want to crop it higher? I think higher is actually better in this case. Yeah, towards the top, because I do like this kind of fallen door thing here, but I think that's better. And it kind of brings the eye more naturally flows from this guy down to this guy here. Cool. That turned out pretty cool. Let me just see how that looks a little cooler. Yeah, not that much, but I am going to cool it off a little bit. Let's go 3600, and then let's double check to make sure the color grading is even necessary. Yeah, it's not necessary, but I like it. But let's keep it in. We made it, let's keep it in. And one last thing, do I want to bring saturation back to 0 to kind of make that violet really, really pop? No, I think it's a little too much then. Okay, great, that's a keeper. That's a nice one. That turned out pretty good. All right, let me get a water break. Gotta keep water on your desk. Stay hydrated. All right, and then and then there's more. Right, there's more. All right, I forgot that we kind of switched targets because this guy showed up to use the vending machine right here. But then there's more. So hold on, let's do the guy with the vending machine. See how that turns out. Let's copy those edits as well. So this is the default. This is with the edits. Actually, let's do the next one because I think that's an awkward moment. This moment's a little better. But yeah, definitely a little too dark, so we're going to brighten that. And then a little too cool now. Right? Oh, that's nice. And then, do we need, again, the grading? Yeah, I mean, it works for this scene. It looks really cool. It adds this little, like, je ne sais quoi to the scene. But yeah, in this case, I don't need this reduced. I was, like, adding haze for the other scene. I wanted more haze. This one, I don't think really needs it. And it doesn't need that much of the glow from the clarity down. And then maybe we bring the saturation back up. And maybe even the vibrance up a little bit. But no, that's not necessary. And then the other stuff I think is fine. I don't need to change anything here. Oh, look. I thought we did this, but I forgot to do it for this one. And there we go. Means I'll have to go back for those other ones and add it in, which I will do in a moment. Okay, cool. That's a little maybe too contrasty. I don't know. Can we... Yeah, or maybe it's just bright in my room and it looks too dark, but I'm going to reduce the contrast a little bit for this one. And then we're going to straighten it, because it felt like kind of weird. It's sort of like leaning back, but not as much as Adobe wants to straighten. About there. Cool. Yeah, and there's a little noise in the shadows, but who cares about that? The man looks great. You're probably wondering, why does he have an earpiece? He probably works, he's a tout, probably works for one of the bars or the clubs, right? He's not a spook. He's just a normal guy who works on the street for a club. And so he needs to like phone in and be like, hey, I got 2 people want to come in, do you guys have room, blah, 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 that kind of thing. Yeah, hence the earpiece. Okay, so yeah, this is definitely the one. I like this kind of subtle reaching for the thing. This is also okay. I mean, this is not the most mind-blowing moment, but I do like it. Yeah, and then he started to walk away, and then he gave me a nice look Like, what are you doing? Yeah, this is something that I think takes some effort to kind of learn when you're out shooting on your own. Is this idea that like you just gotta kind of remain in the moment, and even when people notice you, you just keep doing you. You do what you gotta do. People will kind of like, at least in Japan, sort of tolerate it in a sense of like whatever, you know, it's not my problem kind of thing, right? But I kind of like that he's sort of looking at me like that. It's pretty cool. All right, so these are good. Let's go back and add the correction to this one. Yeah, is it necessary? I mean, I don't know. It really doesn't make a difference, but I know it's there. Like, I know I did it, so I want to do it. All right, let me just catch up on comments here. Do you ever notice much difference what night of the week you go out to shoot? Oh, definitely, definitely, definitely. I mean, you know, in night spots like Thursday, Friday, Saturday night are good, but then some night spots like Shimbashi, this is really for the business crowd, so it's like pretty dead on Saturday. And then Sunday is totally dead. So, you know, it depends what you want. If you want to go out at night, then I think it matters. And the same thing like on the weekends during the day. There's a lot of people out on the weekends in the parks and whatnot in these kind of areas, people shopping. So you have a lot of activity, a lot of people. And that might be what you want or don't want. So I don't really have a favorite day of the week. I don't, you know, definitely I don't, not that picky about it, but I do notice a difference. Like there are clearly some days where it's like this and some days like that, and it's not the same thing. Yeah, this one's, I think, okay, the shadow's a little too subtle. This one's pretty good though. Wow, so yeah, this is actually better than this one, I think, I'd say. And then here as well, we can crop it a bit, but maybe this one we don't need to crop it, like, because the guy, you see, it's what I mean, like, if you get the timing just right, the person making this shadow is just out of frame, whereas the other one had to crop a little bit because they were already in the frame. So it's tricky. It depends how close they are to the wall and how bright that light is. Yeah, let me just catch up on the other comments here. So I remember on my first trip to Japan, I saw a Daido vending machine with a slogan on it, "There's a gallon of deliciousness in every drop." I've never seen that. That is awesome, though. That is such a Tokyo or Japan sort of sign. I love it. I love all the random, weird English phrases. They always crack me up. Early on when I got to Japan, also, like, I noticed those things more. I think I was more sensitive to it because it was more novel. And it was one of those charms that really made me want to live here. It was just like, it was a subtle little thing, but it was so funny. Any plans to stop by CP Plus in February? I did last year. I think it was last year because I know some people who were kind of presenting something there, like selling some gear or whatever. And it was fun. And then I looked at all like the fancy gear, but I probably won't go. Like, it's tough. I got a little kid, and it's all the way in Yokohama. It's like a whole day. I don't know. We might go. I don't know. It depends on my wife if she wants to go, because she's also a photographer, and we went to CP Plus together last year. If she wants us both to go and we'll bring the little guy, that's fine. We can have a Yokohama adventure. So I might go. But me on my own, I wouldn't go. I'd rather stay home and edit photos. Right? Or go out and shoot somewhere else. And then this guy eventually, who was the guy sitting back there the whole time, came out. And that was cool. And he looks pretty badass in his like trench coat. We're going to crop it a little bit. He looks a little bit like a Japanese John Connor from the Terminator 2, you know? He's got that hair and a little bit of that face. You know, he's got Terminator coming after him. This is pretty cool. What I really wanted though was like him coming out and then the shadow in the same time. Oh, damn, that would have been nice. But, you know, that's street photography. You can't have it all. It's just, you're going to get what you're going to get. Again, I'm going to crop off these hinges in this version too. Even though in this one he's still in the darkness, so it's not really as good. But here, when he steps in the light of that vending machine, it looks really awesome. Yeah. Alright, I will probably tweak the colors on these later. I'm not fully 100% satisfied with them, but they are plenty good for the purpose of the stream. All right, and I'm gonna just go back to these so I don't forget later, and add the distortion correction to these. Again, it doesn't maybe make a huge difference, but I want it there just for consistency. All right, just joined the stream. Which area is this? Oh yeah, hey, welcome Nico. Love the details of the stickers in the different color costs. Yeah, totally. So this is in Kabukicho. We've been in Shinjuku for the whole stream. These are photos from a video that is going to be coming out whenever I can edit it. And yeah, and it's Kabukicho. Alright, let's do this one with this taxi. Just like a very kind of, you know, ho-hum, nondescript scene, but very cinematic. And I just give it, and it was way too dark for some reason. I don't know why I underexposed so much. I might have set it like that on purpose. Maybe it was from the last scene like that. Let's go a little cooler on this one. Keep that there. Do that and that. More colors. And then this for sure is going to get cropped really tight like this. I love these 2-to-1 crops that work out sometimes. I don't know why I held the camera so low. Again, I think I was just sort of flustered wanting to get the cab before it went away. Here we're going to kill the shadows a little bit. They don't need to be that bright. Oops. Yeah, way too bright. And then this is maybe a little dark, so I usually do this last, but this one I just know right away this needs more curve here just to kind of pop things up. And maybe it doesn't need that much contrast, but no, it's okay. Okay, do we need to change I think I already did the color balance, but we can tweak it a little more. Maybe actually a little warm is better. I think it's exactly fine where it is. And then we're going to fix the tint in the shadows, make it a little more violet, a little more magenta, I should say. Here the green channel makes like no difference, but I'll just leave it in. And then correct that, as always, and then we did the curve already, and there we go, that's nice, that looks cool. Nice cinematic scene. And then we'll copy these over. And I noticed Rico isn't presenting this year. Oh yeah, at CP Plus, yeah, I wasn't aware of that, but yeah, interesting. I mean, maybe they got not much to present. You know, I only know a slight rumor, like, by the way, I should mention, some of you guys may not be aware, but I also make videos with Axel for the Rico channel, the official Rico GR channel, which is the European Rico GR channel. And we make videos for them sometimes. And also I met some of the Rico people at the exhibition yesterday. There was a man who was the lead, the project manager, I believe he said he was, or product manager. Super nice guy, it was so nice to meet him. He recognized me and said hello. So yeah, we do videos for the channel, and one of the last videos we did is an interview with another person who works with the guy I just mentioned, this guy named Mr. Inaba, who is one of the designers. And at the end of that interview, he kind of said, like, you know, I asked him, so do you have any announcements, you know? And then he was like, oh, yeah, there's something, but I can't tell you anything. So, like, there is something coming, but maybe it's not ready in time for CP Plus, I guess, yeah. But I really genuinely have no idea what it is. People have asked me a few times, like, I have some inside info, but I don't have a clue. They don't tell me anything. I would just myself, I'm just speculating. It's either, this is my total guess, either a GR4 is coming, which would make sense, because it's been a little while since the 3, and people have been asking for it. But then again, like, I don't know what they, you know, I think they're struggling to find improvements while keeping the camera in the same form factor, like the same size, and the same cost, because I don't think they want to make like a $3,000 GR. It's got to be around $1,000, which is already pricey for such a camera for a lot of people. And it can only, you know, they don't want to make it bigger. So what else can they do to justify a GR4, right? Then again, when they went from GR1 to GR2, the change was like literally they added Wi-Fi and like one other thing. So maybe they don't need to justify it, but maybe they learned their lesson that like little updates like that shouldn't get a whole number. That would be like a GR 1.1 instead of a whole 2. The 3 was a big upgrade though. I love the 3. It's a huge upgrade. I was a little skeptical when I first got it. I was like, it's not that much better. It's a lot better than the 2. It makes a difference. Anyway, so a 4 would be nice, but the other option that somebody else told me is like something they'd like, and I'm like, yeah, maybe they do that, is like a monochrome GR, but that doesn't interest me very much. I mean, I don't really, as you can tell, don't shoot monochrome. Yeah, I don't know. If it's that, I'll be like, not disappointed, but like, okay, well, that's cool. But yeah, a GR4 would be nice. And then, what would I want in a GR4? Maybe, honestly, the thing that I would want most is an f2 lens, which again, I know that for size constraints and also cost constraints is very unlikely, but that's what I would like. I would like an f2 lens, because I feel like that would mitigate a lot of the, you know, I don't want to say shortcomings, because it's a really good camera for the size, the cost, the form factor, everything. So it's not like, you know, every camera needs to be perfect. But the places where the GR struggles, or the challenging environments for it, are like what I'm doing right now, these low light environments. Because one, it, you know, compared to, I mean, again, this is comparing, like, it's just not fair, not a fair comparison. I'm comparing a Z9 here, but, which is a gigantic and expensive camera, so of course it's got to be better. But like, the GR just has a lot more noise, you know, at 6400 or 2800 ISO, and, you know, at a lower resolution, right? And the dynamic range is a little bit lower, right? And the colors fall apart a little bit at high ISOs compared to like the Z9. So I understand that maybe that sensor and like again at that cost and whatever is you can only get it so good. But if you had an f2 lens, wow, now you can shoot at f2, which is a whole stop more than f2.8, and that would give you more light, so you can shoot at lower ISO. And then the other thing that the GR struggles with a little bit in the dark is autofocus. Like it's pretty decent given the camera and everything, but it's not as good as like a big SLR. And one of the reasons is the camera is getting less light into the lens because it's a 2.8 lens. If it was a f2, double the light, the autofocus system would have a lot easier time trying to focus on things in these low light situations. So yeah, so I would love a GR4 with, and then everything's the same except they added an f2 lens. But again, I don't think that's possible because the lens would have to be way bigger for that to be achieved. Let me catch up on comments here. GR4 compact film camera. Yeah, I don't know if they're going to do a film camera. I think that's way too niche. I mean, that would be cool. And I think I love, you know, I don't shoot on film, but like at the exhibition, there's a bunch of people who are film shooters. I love the idea of shooting on film. I'm glad people do it. I don't think GR would do that. I don't think Ricoh would do that. But especially since there are retro GRs that are out, that still exist, you know. Anyway, let's mention this photo. I love this dude. The way he just kind of like looked up. I don't even think he was actually looking at me quite at this moment just yet, right? He did eventually, of course, see me, and I chatted with him. But right at this moment, I think he was just kind of like, you know, looking up at something in the background. Now, anyway, this is a good example of how you do a portrait with a 28. So you get the environment. You don't get that close. But with a 1.4, you know, there's plenty of bokeh, plenty of separation, and like it's messy because this is a street photo. But I love it. This is like a scene from a movie. This turned out so cool. All right, let me see what else here. Rico teased us with GR4 unboxing. Oh, did they? Okay, so maybe it is coming. I was also thinking about this recently, like how could they make the GR4 different, full frame or f1.8, f2? Yeah, full frame is the other thing that naturally comes to mind, but I actually think that to keep the size, that would be impossible. Because then you would need a much bigger lens. I think the lens would have to be even bigger than it would be if you kept APS-C but did a 1.2, right? So, or sorry, f2 I meant to say. 1.2 would be crazy. The lens would be bigger than the camera. But yeah, see now he actually looks at me, right, in this moment, which is also cool. But when he's kind of looking over my shoulder, it's better. Yeah, this is also cool. This one, do we need to crop a little bit? Yeah. Why not? Let's keep the crop. Ah, this is so cool. These are both really cool. And then he like smiles. You guys see this in the video. Sorry, spoiler. But yeah, he got really friendly, and I chatted with him for like a very brief moment, and so he was fine. And then of course he posed. This is what people always do. They see the camera and they realize, oh, he's taking pictures. Let me pose. And you know, I get it. I'm happy to have them pose. I love how he's lit in this one, though. By the way, and again, see now it's like a portrait, right? I'm still holding the camera a little too low. This is all just happening very quickly. But like, yeah, like you can do portraits on 28 and they turn out awesome. Like I love this. This is really cool. But anyway, he's smiling, so this is not as interesting a photo as the other one. And then I told him like, hey, no, put the little cigarette thing back in your mouth and then like do a pose. But it's not the same. Like this is okay, but this, that's nice. That's a mood right there. Okay, cool. So we'll move on. I'll just finish these up. You know, I'm gonna keep these. This is a keeper for me. This is just kind of for fun. But this is not the one that's gonna get shared or posted. Yeah. Change the colors a little bit. Again, you see the colors are changing and shifting because there's like screens all around, changing everything. This one as well, I think we can crop 16:9, but keep his hand in it. Yeah, it's okay. It's kind of fun. But these two, especially this one, that's awesome. Yeah, it's gonna be hard to choose. I kind of like that he looks right in the camera. Ah, that's cool. All right, let's move on. Let me see the comments here. So I've wanted to try one of the crazy sub f1 lenses on the front. Yeah, I've never tried one. The biggest lens I've ever tried is a 1.2, and that was nuts. So I can't imagine a 0.95. I've had people bring them on workshops every once in a while. Like one time a guy brought a Leica 50, I think it's just a 50.95, or maybe it's a 58.95, I forget. It's like a $15,000 lens. It's crazy. And just watching him shoot, it was a struggle to get the focus, but it was cool. Like sometimes the results were really cool. But that was years ago, so I don't remember the details. In general, what metering mode are you in for these kind of night shoot shots? I always, 100% of the time, use just straight average metering. No fancy, like, you know, anything, like I used to use matrix metering, which is this mode. Every camera has it. Nikon calls it matrix, right? like Neo uses this metering. Anyway, so I used to use matrix metering, which like meters the whole scene, but tries to kind of be smart about like, oh, you're focusing here, so I'm going to put some weight on that. And that worked fine when I had an SLR, but once I got the mirrorless cameras, the Z6, I didn't like that. It just like, it was too hard to predict what's going to happen because I'm focusing all over the place. I'm using the tracking focus, and it would just change the metering too much. So eventually I looked up and I realized, oh, there's a way. If you put it on center weighted metering, this is just in the Nikon specifically, and then you go into some deeper option like custom setting B6, I think it is, or B3, one of the Bs. Then you can tell the camera, look, when you're on center weighted, actually just do full frame average. And that's what I use. So there's no monkey business, no like predicting of the subjects or anything like that. It's just full frame average, and I find that the most predictable because I understand what the camera is actually trying to do then. Like in this scene, I know that it's the full frame. So I know there's a bunch of bright stuff and some dark stuff, so it'll even out and the camera will meter well. But if I'm like only shooting something really bright, then I know, okay, the camera might actually underexpose or whatever. It's hard to explain this out of the moment, so I'm kind of like glossing it over, but the point is I can sort of understand what the camera's going to do when I'm using average metering. So therefore, always average. And it works great. And then on the opposite of the spectrum, never, ever, ever spot. Because I tried that years ago when I first started, and it is just extremely hard to understand what's going to happen because the spot is so finicky. Anyway, this turned out great. These girls were cool. They're crazy fashion, very Tokyo, socks and stuff, and the leg warmers. This is like retro, but then also like goth style, kind of cool. Yeah, they caught my eye. They were interesting. And then I love this what do you call it? Ramen shop that opened recently because of, I mean, obviously it has this big red neon sign, real neon, not LEDs. Right, is this better? I think this one's a little better. And then it's a little too bright now. And so I'm always trying to capture somebody like walking by in front of it. All right, let me see here. Yeah, this is cool too. This like more wide cinematic one. Do I want to crop this a bit? I don't want to crop up any of them. Maybe a 16 by 10. I just feel like this bottom left area is kind of dead. Yeah, that's much better. Small little change. And then I think I got this other dude walking by. Yeah, and this guy was really cool, but I kind of fudged the timing here. It didn't really work, like, you know, I didn't time it that well, so we're going to try to save it with the crop. Straighten it. Okay. Yeah, he looked cool. He had these really cool glasses on. Is that Prada? Nice. I don't know. I'm not a fashion guy. I don't own fashion products like this, but I love when people do. I like seeing nice fashion on the street. Alright, yeah, this guy turned out great. This is sick. With the crop, it's pretty good. And I think the next one's even better because he actually steps in front of it. Alright, but let me cool this off, and I will catch up on comments here. Let's see. 1 second. I'm just going to finish this one. There's one more. Should be the same edit. Oh no, see again, things, the flickering and the changing of the colors, and it's like a little brighter. Yeah. I think there's one that I ended up deleting because it was just like really out of focus or whatever, but he kind of glanced at me like a moment before this. We'll see. Maybe I still have it. I'll pull that out. Yeah, this is cool. This is really cool. I love how this turned out. With the glow of the neon behind him. Should I add a lot of haze here? I could add some neon glow. And then cool it off a little bit. Oops. There we go. Oh yeah, look at that. That's gorgeous. That turned out awesome. I love it. That's a keeper. And then just to show you guys, this is the original. This is what we started with. This is what we got to. Dynamic range, baby. Love it. Right? Yeah, and honestly, I probably started a little too... Actually, one more thing. So not too dark, but one more thing. I think I'm crushing the whites here. We need to let them glow a little more. Maybe not that much, but just a little bit more. I know I do like the color. See, that's the trade-off. You can have more glow, but then you lose some color. That's like way too much glow. But that's what I'm doing here by removing the highlights. This came up in the last stream as well. It comes up a lot. But I'm going to pop them with the whites here. I just don't like when this white gets kind of like... See, it's not quite white. It's hard to tell me in the video. It's not quite white. It needs to be white. Otherwise, it looks weird. So, and it's a subtle thing, and so I might just fix that with the little more curve here. And drop the curve, and then do we want to remove some of this saturation? I think we can. Let's put it on 70. Alright, cool. let's move on, and I shall read the comments. So, rule is a prime lens has to be 40% larger from APS-C to full frame to achieve the same sharpness. Aperture, minimize distortion. Yeah, that's very interesting to know. I didn't know that, but that makes total sense. So, because the frame is about 50%, it's a 1.5 crop, so it's like 50% larger, right? So yeah, that would make the GR massive. So I don't think we'll see a full frame GR. That's not going to happen. But maybe there's some way to squeeze in, because the lens, like I'm looking at my GR right now, it doesn't occupy, it might not be able to retract anymore. But I might be able to live with that. If you can't retract the lens, but it's an f2, that might be worth it, you know? I assume you can also get the average and push the exposure either way if needed in post. Yeah, pretty much, yeah. That's what we were just talking about. What's your favorite focus mode on the Z9? I use 3D tracking all the time, 100%. Which is sometimes a mistake. It's not always the best mode for every situation. But yeah, I didn't keep, by the way, the photo of the guy when he kind of glanced at me. But there was something totally wrong with it, so I just ditched it. It wasn't interesting. But anyway, what do you call it? Yeah, 3D tracking all the time, because I want to be ready to track. And my logic is that, like, if there's a moment that requires tracking, it probably means there's no time to like mess around with the focus modes and turn on tracking. So you got to just be in that mode. And then I hate switching modes constantly, so I just make it work with the 3D tracking. Like, it just works for me for everything. The kind of the caveat there is that, for me, in my opinion, if you're going to use 3D tracking all the time for everything, you must also use back button focus, because sometimes that's the way around it. That sometimes you don't want to track, because it's annoying to constantly track something. And again, it's hard to explain this with words. If you know, in a video or in person, I could easily demonstrate this. But sometimes you just want to focus and then let go. So to me, the tracking focus, single point tracking, which is what Nikon calls 3D tracking, plus plus back button focus, is absolutely the way to go. So if you're gonna autofocus, that's what you got to do. Yeah. Then my second favorite focus mode that I don't use very much now that the tracking has gotten so good, but I did spend a lot of years using it, and that is actually zone focusing. That is, in my opinion, this is going to sound weird, the fastest focus mode you can use. Because once your focus mode focus distance is locked in, you don't need to focus anymore. You just shoot. You just got to be at the right distance. Whereas even with something like a Z9 with crazy good fast tracking, with 3D tracking, eye tracking, all this stuff, it still takes a moment to put that point on there. Or even if you're not using the point, if you're just using the whole thing, like the whole frame, and letting the camera choose, it still just takes that brief moment. Whereas with zone, you're already focused, as long as you're at the right distance. So distance management becomes a thing. So it's really great for like kind of hip shots and, you know. But tracking has gotten so good, and I've gotten pretty nifty with like locking on to people, that I do tend to use it these days. And, you know, I don't use my manual zone focus lens that much anymore. Man, this turned out way better than I thought. This is like, I shot this thinking, this is like this is pretty much the last photo of the video. This is where the video ends shortly after this. And I just kind of snapped this real quick. And the video is already running kind of long, so I didn't want to like stay here and wait for good subjects. I just thought, hey, there's a guy, let's just shoot it, and then we walked on. But this turned out awesome. Like, he's cool. He's pretty cool. I guess he works at the pharmacy that's just to my left here, because he's got this kind of name tag. I think so. Yeah, he does. It says like Ten Dragu on his name tag there, I believe. Yeah. Cool. I think the second one is better. All right, and let's just see this. And so this is already after we were done shooting the video. I was already heading home, but I still took a few more shots. Like, I just love these taxis just in the street. I mean, they're always so cool, especially these retro ones. This maybe is a little too dark. There we go. Okay, and is it too blue maybe still? Maybe it's too purple, too magenta. No, I kind of like the little warmer there. But I think it's the magentas that's the issue. Yeah, there we go, that's better. It's a little too magenta. Let's bring it back to cool. I'm just curious, because I kind of like the coolness of this shot. Let's go to 4800. And then double check the green channel here. Yeah, I think that's a little better. It's very subtle. We don't have any split toning in this one, that's fine. Okay, cool. That's great. I think it can be back to a cooler edit. I think I like that. When it first appeared on the screen, it was pretty cool. There we go, 4400 even. Yeah, nice. Let's reset this to default out of curiosity. Yeah, and again, underexposing, but using that dynamic range, because I'm just trying to keep detail on those highlights up there. That's the idea. So tend to be underexposed in these things. Yeah. Okay, cool. And this is 1.4. Yes, it is. So it's hard to get a good focus, but I think it focused the right place. All right, a couple more. These last ones are not from Shinjuku. I went home to my area and then I saw a cool moment, so I took a few more. Let's just see this. This was a fun abstract one. Let me see here, because I was trying to get like, this is the same taxi that in the previous photo here, and then it's, I was trying to get these reflections, and this is kind of cool with these eyes, and there's the guy in there, the girl in the back, but it's a little messy, but it's kind of interesting. So but same edit, same colors, boom, just propagate over. It looks good. All right, let's edit this last scene, and then I think I can stick around for a little bit more photos from a different folder. So it's 11 a.m. here. I got a little more time. I gotta eventually go to the gym, get some exercise. I didn't go all last week because of the exhibition, kept me busy. All right, I'm gonna edit the last one in the series first, because that's like it took me a while to perfect this. Like I shot it like this, and then I was like, okay, vertical frame, but then these people showed up, and then this guy actually walked away, but then he luckily came back, so I just kind of stood there for like 5 minutes, and then this neon is flickering on and off, so it's either gonna be this or this. Let's edit this one, the last one in the set. Okay, and yeah, I just love the people in there. And I like that there's like these 2 layers. It would be cool to get like somebody down here too, inside. But it didn't work out. There was nobody there. Well, let's try the different colors. Yeah, for sure we need the different colors. Alright. Let's see here. Okay. Oh, I just glanced over at the viewers. We got 38 people. Nice. Seems to be top off around 40 usually. So that's, I don't know. That's not bad. I'm happy with that. Oh. Didn't mean to do that. Okay, there we go. I kind of was like a little lost there in my keys. Alright, definitely could be a little cooler, but not that much. Okay, and then the green channel. Yeah, that helps a lot actually. I like how it's weird because you change the green primary and then the blues change. Look at that. But I like how they change. It kind of tones them down a little bit because a little too much blue there. So maybe we can warm it up now. This photo I think is going to need a nice color grade because I feel like the colors are kind of like just all over the place. And see, usually I don't need to do a color grade, right? The colors just work great. This one I feel like might benefit from it. So let's just try it. And again, I always try this like kind of standard combo, and then take it from there. It's kind of like a mental preset, right? Yeah, and so here I think we need actually cool highlights. Yeah, that's better. And I like that. This is like a subtle change, but I think it improves it. It's very hard to say why, but I like it. And then again, we can mess with the balance. I think actually a little on the warm side is better. And then more blend. And then we can try some luminosity stuff on this one, luminance I should say. Yeah, bring up the midtones as well. And then the shadows, I think, yeah, we're going to bring these down. Kind of add some contrast while we're at it. I don't know why, but the luminance thing is different than if you do this stuff in the other tab. Yeah, that's nice. That fixes things up nicely. Beautiful. Okay, and then we'll just copy these over. Right, nice. Cool, I think the last one is the best indeed. Yeah, this one with the people is okay, and then yeah, these closer ones that I initially took are not that good. I think the other composition was much better. But alright, and actually they were a little too bright too. But I will finalize these probably later. Okay, so I'll do a little bit more. Let's do a folder here. So this was there. Let's do, what was this? I don't remember what this is. Scroll through these. Oh, there was some cool ones here. Did I already edit this? I think I did. This was a really nice one, and I wanted to edit it like right away. Yeah, this was so cool. This girl was smoking up in the window. This was on a workshop as well, and I was with somebody who also got this photo. But yeah, that was such a nice moment. So I already edited this one. This was the original here. I also fixed the, in this case I felt like the perspective change was necessary. Yeah, but let's see, maybe we can edit the rest of the folder then. Discard the changes, yeah. I didn't want to save anything there. Okay, let's try editing some of these. I got like 30 more minutes maybe, and then I'm gonna have to go. Alright, let's start with this scene. Okay, it's kind of a simple scene. I was hoping for somebody to walk in, but I did get some people that walked in, but it wasn't that good. But I just love even like an empty scene like this, just with these beautiful lights reflecting. And it's funny because this is an exit in Shinjuku Station that I've used like a million times, but I never really, like, it never really caught my eye. I wasn't like attracted to it. But this night, it's like, yeah, wow, that's cool, that's cool. So I'll probably try this again. I'll come back here. You know, it's just like right there in Shinjuku. And I'll try, you know, getting somebody interesting. Eventually, like, there was some people that were kind of interesting, but then, like, then there was other people in the same time. Like, you would just want, like, one person. Yeah, but it is fun to edit these scenes even with nobody there. Just to get the feeling and the mood. Right? That's pretty cool. Look at that. Not bad. It's interesting. Alright. So yeah, so just to repeat a heads up, like, I'll probably be on here maybe 15-20 more minutes. So if you have any other questions, let me know, and I'll be happy to answer them about anything at all. Yeah, and so this is another example of like holding the camera low, letting the subjects come to me. This gentleman was very fun, and I'm actually honestly holding it too low. But again, it's just like the chaos of the moment. But yeah, and this is the 28 again, 1.4. Looks pretty good. Not perfectly sharp, but doesn't matter, right? This man looks gorgeous. His eyes like glowing. We had a little chat after I took this. That's why he kind of turns towards us, and we chatted a little bit. Okay, and this definitely needs to be cooled off. Oh yeah, that's better. Much nicer colors. This is a great example of what I mean. Like, see, I don't want it to be all yellow. I want that warmth, but I still want to be able to like recognize skin tone. So that's what I'm doing. And this starts to get a little too cool. A little losing that warmth, right? Losing that feeling of warmth, which these like fairy lights give, right? Okay, that's pretty good. Fix the distortion a little bit. Give it a little punch of contrast here, but that actually seems totally unnecessary. I don't know. It's a little too much. And now let's try camera neutral again. No, this should stay on Adobe. And then do we want to crop this? Like, he's holding that towel. I wish he wasn't, because now it's kind of an awkward crop. Like, what do I do? You have that towel in the frame. I guess I could do it like this. Then it looks a little weird too. So I think just gotta keep it. Just gotta keep it there. Maybe we just crop off the dude on the right in the glasses. Then again, it's like he's even more. I just think it's fine. It's not perfect framing, but I think it's fine. And now the colors are gonna be all messed up because, like, see here, these fairy lights flicker off, so it gets dark. So honestly, this is not great. Here we definitely will crop off that guy. But this is kind of cool too. It's very intense, very shallow DOF. And kind of like leaned in and talking to the person I was with on the workshop. This one I think we can crop like that. Love the texture in his face. Could I have done this at f2? Probably, but again, then I would need to slow down the shutter. Yeah, I don't know. It's just one of those things where, like, you decide in the moment, and it is what it is. But, you know, it's nailing the focus on the eyes. Look at that. And the camera did a great job of focusing on him in this crazy environment. Here we're going to straighten it a little bit, I think, because it's kind of, like, overly crooked. And then this one maybe needs actually a little less contrast, a little too much. And then, will camera neutral be better? Yeah, see, camera neutral here might be better. Kind of, it just makes these shadows a little less crazy deep. But then the colors are all totally different. So I gotta, like, maybe actually cool it off a little bit. bring the green channel up more. Green primary. Yeah, it's not bad. And then the last one, the fairy light's totally turned off, and now it looks like this. It's just black. So I don't know if I'll be able to save this one. Yeah, I'm not even going to really try. I think, yeah. But there's no point, because I have that other one. But I like this framing more. See, I finally got the framing I wanted, but then the lights flickered off, right? So it is what it is. Let me just see here. Maybe I can get it to a decent point. Oh yeah, again, camera neutral colors help out here a lot. Actually, here the green primary, I think on 0 is better, maybe even negative. Yeah, it kind of removes some of that like odd pinkness to the scene. Very cool. That's good. Okay, and then don't want the additional saturation, because this already feels overly saturated. I just want the contrast. This refined saturation slider was very cool. I'm glad they added that. Okay, let's see here. It'll crop as well. Cool. You know, this overly dark one turned out not bad. I mean, this is 2000 ISO plus 2.5 stops, so it's like, yeah, it's like 7000 ISO. This is what it looked like. This is what we got it to. Not too bad. Okay, are these photos like absolutely incredible keepers? I don't know. I like the first one just because I love his expression. I love the glow in his eyes. I love that he wasn't that close yet, so he's like more in focus because the DOF gets shallower as you get closer. But the pose is a little weird with the towel, but it's okay. All right, nice to see you streaming again. Thanks, Jimmy, and thank you, Hector. Oh, Hector, we just saw you on Instagram last night. Yeah. Yeah, this is a nice. I like this shot. I like the man. Right, I like the man. The shot could have been better. Could have been better executed, but the man is gorgeous. Beautiful subject. Really good shot. Hey, nice to see you streaming again. Sorry, I know we're on 28mm, but which Nikon DSLR? So this is on a Z9, Nikon Z9. So not a DSLR, but close enough. But for a long time I used a Nikon D4, and it is an F-mount 28. It's the one for F-mount, the 1.4 for F-mount, which Nikon has not really released like kind of an upgrade, like a Z version of it quite yet, I think. There is a 28 1.8, but that's not the same. This man is cool. It's a shame to lose the lamps above him, but I do want to lose the people on the sides. Right? I don't like this lady's arm and this dude. So we're just gonna... Now, what I could also do is we could make this... How do you do that? Like this. We could make it vertical, I guess. Because, you know, when you have 45 megapixels, you can crop. I love that I crop it from a horizontal to vertical, and it's still 20 megapixels. So it's more than like my D4 used to be that I had, you know, which was a 16 megapixel camera. So I could in theory crop it like this, but I don't like that more. I don't know. Let's just keep it uncropped for now. I might eventually crop it like that, but I'm gonna go with this version, like this. I think this is better, right about there. Losing some of the lamps. Okay. Let's edit it up. Again, do I want camera neutral or Adobe? Otoko Otaku, no problem, my pleasure. And yeah, no worries for the answer. Yeah, any question, anytime. I don't mind repeating myself. I know that people are entering the stream later, or they didn't catch what I said or something. I'm totally fine to just explain anything, even if it's been already covered. All right, let's keep going on this one. Yeah, that's nice. Just boost the colors a bit, fix that. Definitely need the green channel here because everything looks this kind of sickly kind of yellow color. But if I put it on 60, then you see it becomes more of this kind of peachish sort of color, the skin tones and the hat. This is what I mean. See, this is the yellow, or the green primary, which is 0. Kind of everything's strangely yellowish, and there it looks much nicer, right? So I tend to fix that. That's the kind of a recent thing. I didn't have to used to do that with like my D4, but the sensors changed so much that in the wireless, the mirrorless ones like Z6, 7, and then now the 9, I feel I need to do that all the time. It might be an artifact of my editing process in general though. Like once I change the other things, then that weird yellowness comes out. But anyway, that's fine. That's what the camera calibration tab is for, is to calibrate the colors to the needs of the camera, or to, like, you know, what the camera produces. Okay, nice. That's cool. And it's still on camera neutral. Let's just go back to Adobe to see, out of curiosity. Yeah, I kind of like that. It's just less colorful, more punchy. That's what Adobe usually looks like. So let's roll with that. I think that's going to be good. Now we can actually brighten it back up a little bit. That's cool. Oops. Rotating around. There we go. Nice. I love his glasses. It's so retro. What a gentleman. That guy looks so cool. And then, yeah, then the lights change. Notice. So again, this is a great example. See, the fairy lights are on. They flicker off for this split instant. And now he's only illuminated by the spotlight that's directly above him, which I love. And then he gives me this little shady look, which I also love. And now the lady on the right is less of a distraction, but I think still we're going to remove her. And yeah, that's pretty sick. I like that. But now it's a little too cool because that warm light is gone, so I'm overcompensating. So we're going to warm this back up a little bit so it doesn't look like a scene from a horror movie. There we go. Oh, that's awesome. Beautiful. That's a keeper. Both of these are keepers to me. Yeah, I like the one where he's not looking at me, and then the one where he looks at me, because the shadows on his face get much more stark from that spotlight above and the lack of the ambient lighting. Oh, that turned out great. Do we need one more thing though here, do we need so much of this though? Yeah, I think we don't need such deep magentas here, and then the primary here, maybe you can go back down to 40, because I was extra compensating for that yellowish light, and it was starting to look a little weird. Let's split the difference and say 50. Okay, done. Cool. Do you ever do casual photo walk meetups? Yeah, sometimes. So people ask me that all the time, and I always feel, actually that's a very good question. It's a very good question. I'm glad you asked that, and I should maybe address that in like a video someday. But people sometimes hit me up on Instagram and say, hey man, I'm in Tokyo, can we just meet up for like a coffee and a walk? And I feel like kind of an ass always telling them, well, if you want to go shoot together, please go to iExplore.com and book a workshop. And you know, of course, that's my livelihood. So I want to make a living. So I push my business, right? But I understand that not everybody wants to take a workshop. But the thing is, if I meet up for just like a fun walk, then I'm booked up. I can't do a workshop, for example. So I try to leave myself available for a workshop because somebody else might want to book a proper formal workshop. So to answer your question, yeah, I'm happy to do meetups. I meet up with people sometimes. But it's really like schedule permitting. So I tend to kind of say like, okay, look, let's try to meet up on like this and this day, but I'll let you know closer to the day. Because like if workshops book up on that day, then I would rather go to the workshop and, you know, make my living than do a photo walk and just hanging out, you know. Either way, I'm going to get a photo walk in, right? So that I sound like a prick there, but like I'm going to go shoot with somebody. I'd rather do it as part of my job than just like for like just casually. But I do it, and especially when I'm not busy, like in the off season. So like right now in this season. But I do like meeting people, and I've over the years met some great people on just like casual walks, and we've become friends, you know. So I'm not against it categorically, but I gotta prioritize making a living. I mean, I think that's understandable, right? And since my schedule is kind of all over the place, then photo walks are kind of difficult to squeeze in. But yeah, but don't hesitate to ask. I might say yes, depending on availability. Next question. Would you be interested to test out the new Fuji X100 camera, which is meant to come out in 20th February? I mean, yeah, I'm telling you right now, I will definitely not buy one because I just don't need another camera. I love my cameras as they are. So I wouldn't buy one just to test it out. If Fuji was like, hey, do you want to test out the camera? You know, we'll like pay you and you can put it on your channel. Sure, but that's not going to happen because I'm not a Fuji shooter. So like Fuji will never offer that to me, you know, like for no reason. Like why me? There's so many other Fuji photographers out there with YouTube channels and big followings that, you know, won't happen. So basically, yeah, no. I mean, there's no reason. Yeah. But again, nothing against the Fuji cameras. I just don't use them. That's the thing. I use the ones that I use and I'm happy with them. And this turned out better than I thought. I love this red just splash from the screen in the back, but which then also kind of mimics the gate. I just wish I did it. Oh no, I did do it. I was gonna say I wish I did it a moment later. I did do it. There it is. This is this shot. Yeah. Okay. Great. Then we gotta straighten it a bit. I mean, maybe it doesn't have to be, but I think the text should be going horizontally. It's gonna look better. And then a 16 by 9 as always. And I have so many photos from this spot, different variations and whatever. This is one of the best ones, but it's not the best one. And actually, you can tell that the text is not in focus in the second one. I kind of botched it there, or the camera did, but still pretty cool. And when it's like this on Instagram, you can't even tell. It looks awesome. All right, both of these are cool though. This one actually is sharp, right? The driver's like tack sharp in there. Yeah, this one needed to be cropped, but yeah, cool, very cool. All right, let me catch up on some questions here. So, is there an area of Tokyo that you don't have a tour for that you'd recommend checking out? Yeah, Oimachi, that's a cool one. But actually, as of recently, we do have a tour. We added this tour called the Omakase tour. And omakase is a Japanese word that means to entrust somebody, like you trust somebody else. And when you go to a sushi restaurant, you can say to the chef, just give me the omakase, which means the chef will just decide for you what you're gonna eat. You don't have any say in it. I mean, of course, you can say like, you know, I don't like, you give me omakase, but I don't like eggs or something. But that would be a little bit weird. I think if you're asking for omakase, it means you're gonna trust the chef to just give you a great meal based on what he thinks. And you know, he won't gouge you, like he won't give you super expensive stuff to make you pay a lot. He'll make it reasonable price. He'll mix it up with like something fancy, something normal, and often it's cheap because like a lot of restaurants, the omakase, well, at least like the kind of the daily ones, the ones that you don't need a reservation for, like just like a, you know, just like a local sushi shop. The omakase is a little cheaper because they put more seasonal stuff in, so like the stuff that's now in, you know, can be caught easily and therefore cheaper. But anyway, so I'm doing an omakase workshop, which is the idea is you book it and then I will decide where to go. And I will almost definitely go somewhere that is not covered on a different workshop, because part of the motivation for having an omakase workshop is that, you know, and you know, I still love doing the workshops. This is like a dream job, so I'm not complaining. But I do get a little bored going to like Kabukicho every time, because that's like our most popular workshop. Everybody books the Tokyo Cyberpunk Streets workshop, so we got to go to Kabukicho, and Kabukicho's awesome. These photos you're looking at right now are, I'm almost positive, from a workshop, because this is the area we go to. In fact, no, they definitely are. Yeah, I remember this one. Yeah. This one I already edited. This turned out cool. I think I wanted to see, because it started very dark, so I needed to even see if this is like a viable photo, like is this sharp or what's going on. This turned out cool. So yeah, so I get a little bored of this stuff, so I made this new one that basically I will decide. And so yeah, so an area like Oimachi is really cool, and that's the kind of area I would take someone to on a omakase workshop potentially. Although that area is a little out of the way, but Oimachi is pretty cool. Let me see. On the second one, the second one hit. Sorry, I don't remember which one, but I think you made that comment when it was the guy with the cool glasses in the spotlight, right? I believe. Yeah, I saw these comments appear. Yeah, this can stay crooked. It's fine. Yeah, I'm gonna catch up on comments first, because I see a bunch before I edit this. I know it's not staged, but it totally looks. Yeah, I agree. Just from how perfect the lighting is. Yeah, you are talking about that one. Yeah, thank you, TDM Format. I quite like how that photo turned out too. First time tuning into the stream, I'm really just enjoying the in-moment commentary and your thought process while editing. Yeah, I'm glad you enjoy it. Once I get warmed up, I don't stop talking. In the beginning, I kind of don't know what to say, but then I just keep going. And then after the last stream, somebody said you should do a podcast, and so I feel like, yeah, like this is the podcast. I should rename it from stream to podcast. I don't know, but it would be cool to have a guest someday. Somebody sitting here who's like maybe looking with me at the photos or something. That'd be kind of fun. Yeah. Let me see. The next time, beautiful image. What a moment. Thank you. Message redacted. All good. If you're doing a walk between March 21 and April 1, then definitely let me know. I'll be there during that time. Well, you could definitely book a workshop during that time if you'd like, and we're definitely available. But will I be just like going out to shoot on my own? During those days, extremely unlikely, because that is the busiest time of the year, is the Sakura season. Even though we generally don't do workshops based on cherry blossoms, but there are a ton of people in the city at that time, and so we get a lot of bookings. So during late March and all of April and into May, pretty much if you say, hey Lucas, can we just like grab a coffee and do a little walk, I'm gonna say, yeah, sorry, because like I know I'm gonna be busy with workshops and stuff. So yeah, but maybe, you know, hit me up closer to the date. That's how it is. If you hit me up on the day and say, hey, I want to meet up, maybe you're available, I might be around. Sometimes like I'm happy to meet people like before a workshop, I'll say, hey, just meet me in Shinjuku at 6 and we'll have like a quick coffee or something, or just walk around a bit. But then workshop starts at 7 and I gotta go. You know, so like I have like a little bit of time to spare. Let me see here. I don't like the colors, but I'm not figuring out a way to fix them. So let's just move on and we'll come back. Oh, that's better. Okay. There we go. Brighten that up a little bit. Yeah, that's nice. That's nice. This guy was trying. Actually, I think he was trying to go down a one-way and eventually had to back up. I don't remember what happened here, but yeah. I think a little warmer, a little more green, and that's good enough. For the purpose of the stream, I'm just going to leave it there, but I'll probably revisit this one. Don't feel bad. Time is the most valuable thing we have. I totally agree. To be honest, I think it's inappropriate to expect complete strangers to give up some of that. I think it's okay though. I think people do. Like I said, I'm reading the comments that already happened when you were responding to what I already said. But I just want to reiterate. I do meet people. I met like over the winter now. I had a couple of meetups with random people that were friendly and just were like, hey, can I get you a coffee or just meet up, or whatever? And I did because I had time. So yeah, it just depends. And nobody ever is very pushy about it. When I politely tell people like, hey, if you want to meet up, book a workshop, people are like, okay, I'll check them out. Nobody's ever been like, oh, what the hell, man? Like, what? I want to just, you know, no. I've never gotten that reaction. So people are cool, and I'm just flattered that people want to meet. I think that's fun. You know, I get it. Honestly, I try very hard not to give people the cold shoulder, because I remember there was a time when I was a new up-and-coming photographer in Tokyo, and I was just like, you know, I was just like a rando, basically. I really love this one, by the way. Just the glow in his eye is so pretty. Gorgeous. Yeah, that's a keeper right there. I like that one. This one's good too. Anyway, and like there was some like, I don't even remember who now, but like photographers that are like kind of known here in Tokyo, or at least they were 15 years ago. And I hit him up. I was just like, hey man, I like your work, I like your blog, maybe we could meet up. And like they just ignored me. They didn't even answer, you know, like. And I mean, that's fine. I wasn't like too offended, but it made me a little sad. So I try to give people that same respect and say like, look, like I'm gonna do my best, and like if we can meet up, great. But now I also kind of understand where those guys came from, where they didn't answer me, because like, yeah, you're busy. They had, you know, they've been like, I was just like a, you know, a single guy just in Tokyo, no family, no kids, nothing, like, you know, part-time job as an English teacher. So like I had all the time in the world. And then now it's like the opposite, right? I have business and kids, or a kid and wife, whatever, all this stuff. So I respect where those guys were coming from. But at least they could have answered me, and I try to answer everybody. So please ask, don't hesitate. I will answer you one way or the other. I don't ignore people. I think that's really rude. Okay, this was a fun moment. We just saw this, me and the person I was with on the workshop, and we liked it. We shot it. I think I got a little too close, and the colors are a little bit weird here, but I'll figure them out eventually. That's better. It's just too purple. Yeah, it's nicer. And then I did one with the light not fully on, and I think that's better, right? This is much more colorful. There's just too much intensity from that other when the light is fully on. It's just it's just pretty colors. Like, I don't know. This isn't anything mind-blowing, but it's just so much fun to look at a photo like this. I think I can make this even more green and then a little brighter. Yeah, not bad. Let's move on. I'm kind of speeding through these because I gotta end the stream soon, and I like editing. I want to edit more photos. Let me see here as well. More comments. Have you checked out the Sakura stage building in Shibuya? It's brand new, so it's still a little dead, but some pretty cool angles and interesting light. Yeah, I've heard about it, and I've walked through kind of the what do you call it? Like the no, Sakura stage is the other one. There's so many new buildings in Shibuya, so no, not that one. There's another new building whose name I don't know that I kind of explored, but the Sakura stage building I haven't been to yet, because last time I looked, it was still under construction. But if it's already there, then yeah, I could maybe drop in and check it out. But honestly, I'm a bit salty about that one, because they tore down so many cool little side streets and replaced them with one like mega building that just like there used to be more streets there, more blocks, and they're all just one big building now. Honestly, in my opinion, the redevelopment of Shibuya is like a total travesty. Like I hate the new stuff. You know, there's some things going for it. I mean, it's, you know, it's not all like crap, but I miss 15 years ago Shibuya. It was different. I think I spend way less time in Shibuya these days. I do bring people there on workshops because there's still some cool stuff around that's worth it. And so I do like it, but the big redevelopments, most of them I find just like, yeah, totally totally bland, unfortunately. So I'll give the Sakura stage a chance. I'm not like categorically against it, but yeah, I think Shibuya. Yeah, Shibuya is a sad case. All right. How many people are in a fully booked workshop? All of our workshops are private sessions, one-on-one. So, or you can bring, they're up to like 4 people, I think, but it's just you. So if you want to bring you and a friend, or you and 2 friends, or your family or something, that's cool. But there will be nobody else. So that's how we roll. And we used to do groups, and we actually brought back groups a little bit because we wanted to make it more affordable. Because the private ones, obviously, we got to charge a little more. But mainly we do private sessions, and I just like it that way because I really like to be hands-on. I want to really get to know the person I'm working with and understand what they want to do, and I want to have this kind of conversations with them. And I find when there's big groups, then somebody ends up being kind of a wallflower, which is understandable. In big groups, that's me. I'm a wallflower. I don't take over a conversation when there's like 8 other people. I just kind of chill on the side. And maybe I'll say something sometimes, but anyway. And I don't like that. I like to be engaged with people, so hence we do private sessions only. I'm sorry, I know you've been waiting for that answer for a while. I hope you're still there. I appreciate you responding, and I'll definitely message you around that time. Congrats on the exhibit. Thank you so much. Where do you want people to hit you up? Instagram. I'll buy you a beer sometime in Tokyo, man. Thank you, Jimmy. It's just Instagram. It's LKAZ photo. Here, this is my Instagram. Right here, I'll put it in. And then the iExplore Instagram is this. So there are 2 different Instagrams. I use both. I'm logged into both, but I'm much more active on mine. The iExplore one is kind of dormant. We used to have it, but then I kind of like stopped updating it because it's just like, it's a pain in the butt to run 2 social media channels. Let me catch up on the comments a little more. I look at trying to decide between 24 and 28. I like the extra wideness of the 24, but the 28 option is faster aperture. Definitely get the 28. Definitely get the 28. Yeah, you're not going to notice the 4mm. I would definitely get the bigger aperture, and honestly, 24 can be really tricky to use. You think it's not a big difference, I just said, but it's big enough that you have to get even closer, and 28 already you're going to feel like, man, I'm so far from everything. 24 is great if you're really doubling down on like architecture, urban stuff, art, landscapes. But if you have any interest in street, the 28 is much more conducive to that. And I know this because I sometimes take out my 14 to 24 for a spin, and I do some street with it. And then, yeah, it's a different beast. Like, even at 24, it's wide. It's really wide. And one thing about the millimeter difference, you got to think about it in the percent difference, because it's not about the millimeters. Because, like, 4mm when you're going from, like, 100 to 104 is only 4%. But from 28 to 24, what's this, 1/6? What is that? 16% difference, I think, right? Is that right? Whatever. I think so. So the point is, it's a bigger difference, right? It's a much bigger difference. So the wider you go, the more those millimeters matter. So actually, it is a sizable difference. But it's not such a big difference for like things far away. So if you're shooting architecture with 28 or 24, it's going to be a little wider, but it's not that big. But if you're like, it's like this guy right here, I'm on 28. If I was on 24, it'd be even wider. I would have to step a little closer, and I was already like, just like 2 arms lengths away from this dude. So, you want to, I'm all for the 28. I'm glad you're still there. Awesome. Tokyo seems to be changing a lot. Absolutely, it is. And that's one of the kind of things that drives me these days, honestly, that I didn't really appreciate when I started photography. And that is, like, I just thought, yeah, it's going to be like this forever. And then so many things that I love to shoot are gone. And, like, I never really got great photos of them because I was a worse photographer before. And I learned a lot over the years. And I'm really sad about that. I wish I could go back in time and, like, I don't know, just shoot certain things more, or just spend more time in some areas. Because sometimes it's not even about your skill, it's just about how much time you put in certain areas. If you're there a lot, you will get great images eventually, right? Because it's all about the moments. But I didn't go to those places enough that I have in mind, like Ginza, for example, or Shimbashi. Because I thought, yeah, they're just going to be there, and they're far away. And I kind of floated around Tokyo, like, wherever, like, the day took me. I didn't have, like, a plan, Whereas somebody like Lee Chapman, who I really respect and look up to as a photographer, he was very like, I'm going to go to this place. And he had like these places. So if you don't know Lee Chapman, look him up. Great photographer. Anyway, so yeah, I wish I did it more like that. I still don't kind of like do it that way because I sort of have this habit, but at least I'm out a lot. So I do go to areas a lot, and doing the workshops helps out because it just forces me to be out there all the time in a good way. So yeah, I think it's changed a lot, and it makes me kind of sad. But that's how it is, right? That's how it is. That's what life is. Life is all about change, and things, things are different every day. Even sometimes little things, and bit by bit everything changes, and then someday you wake up and it's all totally different. These kids were so cool. They were having such a good time. Hector, I got to see your photos when they were displayed via Ginny Street Gallery. Oh, great! It was pretty cool to do a photo walk while enjoying. Oh, awesome! You were here at that time. That's great. Yeah, that Ginny Street Gallery, run by my friend Lorenzo and then his partner Toto, partner in the gallery. Yeah, they did a cool job, and they invited me to participate, and I was very honored because the other photographers in the group at that time were also really cool. And yeah, and that was my first exhibition ever. And then the one last week was my second exhibition ever. Yeah. What have you been losing? So oh, okay. The two lens. Your Gem Polar. You asked about the lenses. Yeah, I'm glad to be of service. Glad to help. Yeah, Lee's side is awesome. Like I've been following him for like a decade. When I discovered him, I was like, damn, these are good. Okay, so I think I'm gonna add a little vignette to this one, which I rarely do, but it just feels a little cold around the edges, and I want to bring attention more to these guys. So there we go. Okay, so I said we do a little extra. I think we're gonna power through these last few photos. Yeah, that's it, because it's almost done, and then we'll end the stream there. So like I said, I already pre-edited these like a few weeks ago. I edited these the day I got them off the camera because I was so excited about this shot. Because actually I have another shot from Kabukicho. This is in Shibuya, and then I have one in Kabukicho, also of a girl in the window smoking like this. And now I realize, like, oh, I have like a diptych. Now, if I had this shot before the book came out, I would have put both of them in the book together because they look so good together. But okay, let me just copy these edits over to finish these photos. I think those vertical ones are the best because of the moment. But then this is also pretty cool. She was kind of like just staring at her phone, having a smoke break, and then right at the last moment, she looked up and took a drag of her cigarette. Yeah, see, these are okay. Like, she's up there, it's cool. This is why I always tell people, when you see a cool scene, stay in the moment. Like, watch the whole scene unfold. Don't just be like, oh, girl in the window, click, it's not bad, and then walk on. There's no hurry. There's nowhere you're going, right? I just stand there and I watch. Once the scene is good, and I watch the person, and through the camera. I don't take my camera down because if I'll miss it. Right? Actually, I think in this case I did take my camera away from my eye because I was also talking to the person at my workshop. I was explaining something. That's all well. That's just me doing my job. But when I'm on my own, I look through the camera. And because I had to do that before I took it down and said something, I almost missed this, but then I quickly brought it back and I got it. I love it. Mid drag, the cherries lit up, as it's called. Beautiful. All right, let's do this last photo, and then we'll wrap it up. Yeah, this was just on my way home, and like I noticed, oh cool, like I've always noticed these stripes, but then this day I realized I could make a photo out of this. So here we'll probably crop it really. Let's go 2:1. So yeah, this is the problem. Like the right person showed up, right, with the red stripes. That's awesome. But then the other people showed up. Even the yellow hat with the yellow text. Oh, I didn't even notice that in the moment. But I didn't want those people. So let's see if we can just crop those people out and just make it work somehow like this, Yeah, not bad, right? Not bad. And then again, I try to like even more crop out those other people, right? But this is worse. I think this is better. Okay, let's edit this. It's not perfect, but the color, juxtaposition here is fun. Love all the stripes. We'll just edit this one up real quick. I think I like Adobe's colors here a little more. I'm gonna go 3400. That's a little too cool. That's a little too green. Split the difference, put it on 12 maybe, there we go. Nice. Cool. Fix those reds by adjusting the green channel. Fix the distortion. Brighten it up. And there we go. And it's not bad. I mean, it's not a killer photo. Like the moment doesn't quite work, but the colors do work. That's fun. I'll probably try this again. This is on my way home. So like I walk by this all the time. Yeah. I think we got to go wide here as well. It really needs to be, yeah, for the geometry to work. But it's just awkward. It's awkward. I did try to like frame the left side here. See the line? This line is perfectly flush with the frame. I think like I like my framing with these diagonal lines. It looks great. It just, yeah, the moment's not perfect. I also don't like that they have a shopping bag. But oh well, it is what it is. All right, guys. So I had no idea that was your first gallery. Yeah, that's right. I'm very lazy with exhibitions. I've always wanted to do one and never really got around to it. And I've only done these two because like I was invited. Like my friend Lorenzo, as I said, invited me. He's like, hey man, do you want to do it? And then the one last week, Adam, the organizer, that's Benedan on, I think it is, on Instagram, also invited me because I went to his last group exhibition that he organized 6 months ago or something like that. I chatted with him and he was like, hey, cool, yeah, I'll invite you to the next one, great. And he did. And when I get invited, it's hard to say no. But on my own, very unmotivated to do it. But anyway, guys, I'm going to end it there. Thank you so much for watching. I hope it was interesting. The stream will stay up, and so you can go back and listen to it again, or if you didn't get the whole thing, I'm going to leave them up. I used to take them down, but I'm just going to leave them up. And also, a quick announcement to those diehard stream fans. There was like 3 or 4 earlier streams that I've done, like over the years, and I made those unlisted because of like the algorithm, blah, blah, blah. But I brought them back, and there is a playlist on our channel. So if you go to the channel, Export channel, in the playlist, there's a photo editing playlist, and those streams are also in that playlist. As well as a couple other like more normal length videos about photo editing. So like they will, from now on, I will just be adding the streams to this photo editing playlist, and so yeah, you can always watch them or put them on, and ASMR, listen to my keyboard clickety clackety sounds. Maybe helps you sleep or something. I don't know. All right, thank you guys. I'm gonna end it there, and I'll catch you guys in the next stream. And remember always,